新剣道の開祖、そして国際新剣道協会の CEO であられるスティーブ・ジョセフ氏です。こんにちは、先生。
はい。
まずは何歳の時に武道を始められたのか、お伺いするところから始めましょう。
I started doing martial arts at the age of 10 years old.
どの先生から指導を受けましたか？また、誰からインスピレーションを受けましたか？
I first started judo, then I went on to learn karate under a sensei called Simon Scott, who created a system called Dojo and Karate. At the time I didn't know. He formulated a system of Ishinryu and Taekwondo he put together. After learning from Simon Scott, I went on to learn Kung Fu with a gentleman called Master Stan Brown, who I thought was absolutely amazing. I then went on to learn various other forms such as Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, kick Thai boxing, and then Tai Chi. There are certain individuals who inspired me. The Kyokushin Karate founder, Masayama, my own instructor, who I, to this day, I would see as the greatest or the main instructor, is Master Stan Brown. He was such a technician and a real gentleman. I was also inspired by other individuals such as the great Morihei Ueshiba, the founder of Aikido. His philosophy and martial meaning of peace.
新剣道とは何ですか？
ShinKenJuJutsu is a mixture, really, of Japanese Jiu-Jitsu and Karate, with a few elements of kick Thai boxing involved. It utilizes strikes, restraints, joint locks, throws, takedowns, and weapons defense. It's a unique modern system of self-defense. That is, it's not a traditional martial art, but it's very diversified in the sense of if you did Shinkendo, whether you were good at just the throwing aspect, or you want to do just the striking aspect or the restraint aspect, Shinkendo would accommodate you. It suits everybody. As Bruce Lee said, we all have a different structure, and we've got to take from an art which simply fits our needs. For example, you cannot put, if to create a system of martial art such as Shinkendo wasn't simply by taking extracts from different forms of self-defense systems and putting them together. That's like, as Bruce Lee says, putting water in a bag and trying to shape it.
先生がこの護身術を作られたことは知られていますが、どのようにして新剣道を作られたのかお聞かせいただけますか？
Well, upon doing karate at the age of 13 years old, I went to a Chingfu Dojo, which I did the Dosenkai Karate under Simon Scott. And in one particular lesson, we were sparring. I sparred with Sensei, and he gave me what's known as a Gedan Mawashigeri, a round kick, low round kick, which took both my legs away, and I landed on the floor pretty hard. I then went home after dojo, and every Tuesday and Thursday night, dojo night, I was next to dojo. There was these various gang members known as skinheads. In those days, it was called National Front, and it was predominantly followed by these Neo Nanzi or skinhead members, and I was always taunted or chased by these various individuals. Well, on that particular night, I suffered an injured leg. I went home, and there were 7 members behind me. I turned around and I saw what looked to be a hastily approached towards me, and suddenly one of them shouted out, "Get him," which caused me to run, and they caught up with me. It was a severe attack, but I fought back with the knowledge of my karate and judo. After the attack, I went home and analysed my actions, realising that I utilise not just striking techniques, but throws as well. So I thought to myself, well, to be effective in self-defense, shouldn't relearn not just one form of martial art, in the sense of just emphasize on one particular aspect, such as strikes. Wouldn't it also be good to know restraints and throws as well? So I began to write ideas down on paper as to the various aspects of combat, which is striking techniques, throwing techniques, grappling, and groundwork. And I devised at a very early age 4 aspects of combat. So I ventured on to learn these various 4 aspects of a fighting, or what we prefer to say, self-defense. And I created at the age of 16 a syllabus, that is, having put together these various diagrams. I continued to learn from various martial arts for the next, say, a few years, until I came up with what's a friend gave me the name of, at the time it was called Sun Kundo in Chinese, later changed to the Japanese pronunciation of ShinKenJuJutsu. When I created ShinKenJuJutsu, it was regarded as a mixed martial art, 15 years, I think, before the UFC, or MMA as they call it nowadays. However, creating a system of martial art or a style of martial art wasn't my intention. Simply I wanted to develop a unique form of self-defense for my own personal self. As a young lad growing in East London, attacks on ethnic minorities were quite frequent. I became a nervous child, and again, my greatest inspiration came from Bruce Lee. And secondly, I have to say from Master Stan Brown, when I walked into his dojo, Kung Fu Dojo in East London, and I saw what appeared to be like a Shaolin temple with seriously well-toned individuals with long dreads, and each one of them looked like they could take on 10 guys just by themselves. I was 13 years old at the time, and I was also inspired by again my first instructor, Simon Scott, who, I mean, the gentleman was totally, completely mad in his methods of training. Well, these were really my 2 inspirations at the time, and I then later on ventured to different individuals who were in their own fields very, very good, and I gathered as much knowledge as I possibly could to make the system of martial art that I created into a powerful one.
ご自分で作られた武道を教えるというのはどういった経験でしょうか？
I gained a lot of experience teaching ShinKenJuJutsu, mainly with communication with the public. There were different people who came at me, as you would expect from the general public. Some were stiff, some were flexible, some were strong, some were weak, and some had very strong drive, while others had very low self-esteem. As an instructor, we go through these various experiences. Teaching ShinKenJuJutsu itself as an art, I would say I furthermore developed as an individual and a martial artist. I learned to understand myself as a person. That is, what are my weaknesses, what are my strengths, not just in the dojo but in life. Basically, teaching the martial arts, Shinkendo, it made me mature and grow as a human being, as a person. It taught me to be real. It taught me to be who I am.
先生として主に誰にどのような影響を与えているとお考えですか？
As to influencing others, I hope that I influence my students in particular. I'm inspired actually by these individuals, namely students of mine from Ireland and Denmark in particular. I can name two, which would be a sensei Nina Lund and a sensei Mark Flynn and James Flynn, who's been with me for many, many years. These individuals, in my opinion, are really super nice students and human beings.
最後に真剣道の将来へ向けて先生の志をお聞かせください。
What are my aspirations? Well, when I started Shinkendo about 10 years into it, I was inspired by stories of students from Europe and other dojos when I was told that certain individuals, females namely, were attacked and they successfully defended themselves utilizing techniques from Shinkendo. One particular female was attacked by 4 men who dragged her into a van, and she was at the time a brown belt in Shinkendo with just 4 years of martial arts training, and she successfully defended herself against all these 4 attackers. I had numerous calls, and my membership, I believe at the time, really expanded. The knowledge was passed on to the future durationists for the benefit of obviously in self-defense, but not just the self-defense. As an instructor, we would like to see the message of the martial arts, the true martial arts of discipline, respect, friendship, tenacity, obedience, passed through to the younger generation of today. I do hope that I inspire future generations in the years of training in martial arts to have them open up their own schools and continue the martial arts that they love.
先生、ありがとうございました。
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much for having me.